are places on this planet that were never meant to be seen by human eyes. Asterisk, not because they are secret, not because they are dangerous. The moment you see them, you are struck dumb. Because something in the world has changed. That quiet, comfortable certainty you always carried about the world. Those ideas you had about understanding where you lived. Knowing what the world was like, that certainty is gone. Completely, quietly, and without warning. Asterisk, these aren't the kind of places you'd find in luxury travel magazines. They're certainly not the kind of places your friends share on their vacations. These are places that exist at the edge of understanding. Places where the line between the familiar and the foreign is so blurred that you start to question whether you're living on the planet where you were born and raised. Asterisk around the world. There are pits that have been burning for centuries with no end in sight. There are lakes so pink they look as if painted by a child. There are forests so quiet that people prefer to get lost in them forever. There are bleeding deserts. There are glowing caves. There are rocks that move on their own. There are mountains that carry every color of the spectrum at once. And there is a church built from the bones of 70,000 people. Asterisk. These places don't really care whether you believe in them or not. Whether you watch them or not, they are there because they will always be there. And today, you will see them all. Believe me, you will wonder where I have been living. Asterisk, from the moment you hear this, I want you to know this. What you're about to experience isn't a list. It's not a travel guide. It's not a compilation of facts you'll scroll through and forget. Asterisk, this is a journey into the incredible wonders of the earth that never seem to make sense. And when this journey ends, you will never look at this blue planet the same way again. Asterisk, be quiet. We're starting. Asterisk, imagine a desert so empty, so boundless, so devoid of human presence that the silence itself has weight. Not even a cell phone tower. Not a single road worth mentioning. For hundreds of kilometers in every direction, there's no other living thing breathing. Just you, the sand, the wind, and the fading light of the sun slowly setting on the horizon of the Karakum Desert. Asterisk, you've been driving for hours. You look left and right, but the scenery hasn't changed. It won't change. This is the interior of Turkmenistan, one of the most isolated regions on the planet's surface, a place where even the air feels borrowed. And then, on the horizon, orange. Asterisk, not the orange of a sunset, not the orange of city lights bleeding into low clouds. This is something else, something older, something that your body recognizes before your mind does, something that triggers a response buried so deep in human biology it predates language itself. Fire. Not a campfire, not a burning building, a fire crater, roughly the size of a football field, 100 meters in diameter and 30 meters deep. A hole covered in flames that have been burning continuously since 1971. It's like the gates of hell. Asterisk, the story of how this happened is absurdly unbelievable. In the 1970s, Soviet geologists were drilling for natural gas. They found a large underground methane deposit, and the ground beneath the drilling rigs collapsed. The entire operation was buried at the bottom of the earth. Instead of allowing the methane to be released freely into the atmosphere, which could have resulted in disaster, they made a decision that seemed reasonable at the time. Can you guess what decision they made? They lit it on fire. Asterisk, no, you heard right. The idea was simple. burn it to the ground in a few weeks. Fill in the crater. Get on with your life. It's that simple. That was over 50 years ago, but the truth is that the fire never went out. It has continued to burn every night and every day since humans first set foot on the moon. The locals call this place the gates of hell, and in the absolute darkness of the Karakum Desert, the heat pressing down on your face from 30 meters below practically turns you into a sponge with sweat. Standing at the edge of this gate, accompanied by the roar of flames filling the silence that has remained unbroken for centuries, you realize that this name is the most accurate name ever given to anything. So do you think those people were right with that simple idea? Let's discuss it in the comments ***. And if you're there, remember, there are no bars. There is no fence. Only you, the cliff, and the fire. The Turkmenistan government has announced plans to extinguish the crater. Scientists believe it may be possible. But before they do, before this accidental monument to human hubris and geological consequence is snuffed out forever, there's a window of time. A finite window. A window that is closing. And so they began. People descended into that crater. Not tourists. Not thrill seekers. Explorers and scientists. People who wanted to know what lived in or what was inside a pit that had been burning for half a century. What they found was stranger than the fire itself. What do you think they might have found? You won't believe it. Write your guess in the comments. I told you, you couldn't know microbial life. Organisms adapted to the heat, the chemicals, the impossibility. Life finds a way, even in the last place you'd expect to find it, doesn't it? If you find yourself in Turkmenistan, which you won't, not by chance, it takes real effort to get there. Go at night. Go when the desert is cold, the stars are shining in the sky, and silence reigns. Go at a time when you can hear the fire before you see it. And stand there and ask yourself, what is the meaning of our existence on a planet that began with a miscalculation and ended with something no one fully understands? In a desert most people will never see, with a fire crater that began burning even before some of us were born. Why did we witness such a thing? Because of some people's mistake. Maybe you'll go, or maybe you've already gone. I don't know. I'm curious. Would you go there? I think most people would say no. Most people have never stood on the edge of something that makes the word no feel so small. You can be sure of that. There is a place on Earth where the ground is actively trying to transform into something else. Like a Sanaki transformer. Where the crust beneath your feet is thin, stretched, pulling apart at the seams. Where the planet's interior is closer to the surface than almost anywhere else on Earth. Where the heat is not a weather condition but a geological fact, baked into the rock itself, radiating upward through formations that look like nothing you have ever seen and nothing you have the right vocabulary to describe. The Danakil Depression is located in the northeastern corner of Ethiopia, at the point where 3 tectonic plates are slowly and continuously drifting apart. This region is one of the lowest points on Earth, with temperatures regularly exceeding 45 degrees Celsius, sometimes reaching over 50 degrees. This area is among the hottest places on Earth, reminiscent of hell. Rainfall is almost non-existent. There is almost no shade. You cannot even see your own shadow. There are active volcanoes within walking distance. The ground is riddled with hydrothermal vents that push superheated acidic water to the surface. This water accumulates on the surface, forming bubbles and leaving sediment. Yellow, neon green, violent orange, deep crimson, sulfurous white. Danakil doesn't resemble Africa. It doesn't resemble Earth either. It seems not to belong to this universe. It resembles the surface of a moon orbiting a gas giant in a solar system 14 light years away. Painted in colors chosen by a mind that has never seen anything soft or gentle. But don't be fooled. Before the visuals, the smell hits you. Sulfur, sharp, persistent, and intense enough to taste. Your eyes start to water as if you were crying. Your throat closes up slightly as if you were coming down with the flu. Your body starts sending signals that most intelligent organisms would react to and leave. But you don't leave. Because when you see what's in front of you, leaving becomes a secondary concern. What do you think we'll see? Let's see in the comments if you can guess. The hydrothermal fields of Deadvlei, sitting inside the Danakil Depression, are among the most visually alien landscapes on the surface of our planet. Salt pillars push up from the ground in formations that mimic undersea coral reefs. Except there is no sea here and hasn't been for millions of years. Hot springs bubble through layers of mineral crust in colors so saturated they seem digitally enhanced. Pools of bright yellow liquid sit quietly beside columns of white salt crystals, beside patches of ground that are neon green from the sulfur compounds oxidizing in the heat. This is one of the harshest environments on Earth. A study on Deadvlei published in scientific literature states that no life can exist in this region due to the combination of extreme heat, extreme salinity, extreme acidity, and toxic chemical compounds. There are no microbes. There are no bacteria. No life form can survive. Yet researchers continue to find organisms that should not exist under conditions where survival seems impossible. Life in the Danakil Depression does not merely survive. It adapts. It persists. It refuses to accept no for an answer. No, my friend, we cannot survive. You would need to wear an astronaut suit to live there. To travel there. You need a guide, a permit, armed protection in some areas. A vehicle capable of traversing terrain shaped by prehistoric geological forces. And you must honestly ask yourself what you are willing to endure. Well, I don't see anyone commenting who still wants to travel there. People who go to the Danakil Depression do not go for comfort. They go because they need to see something real. Something that strips away every soft layer of the modern world and replaces it with pure, unmediated geological truth. You are standing on a planet that is still alive, still moving, still becoming. And the Danakil Depression is the place where it shows you that fact without any softening, without any apology, without any mercy. It is the harshest place on Earth. It is also one of the most beautiful. This contradiction is the essence of the real issue. If anyone is leaving, let them say so. Probably not. Death can be beautiful. Not as a metaphor, not as poetry. As a literal, visual fact that you can stand in front of and photograph and carry with you for the rest of your life. Deadvlei is a white clay pan in the heart of Namibia's Namib Desert. Surrounded by some of the tallest sand dunes on Earth, the dunes are not beige. They are not the sand-colored sand of every other desert you've ever imagined. They are deep, saturated red, the color of rust, of dried blood, of iron-rich sand that has been baking under an African sun for millions of years. The contrast against the white of the clay pan below is so extreme, so geometrically perfect, that photographers travel from every continent just to stand in this specific location at this specific time of day and attempt to capture something that will always look better than any camera can record. However, The sand dunes are not Deadvlei's most striking feature. So what do you think could be even more spectacular? Take a guess and let's meet in the comments. The trees are Asterisk. They stand at intervals across the white floor of the pan, dozens of them, blackened and contorted. Their branches reaching upward in poses that suggest agony, or prayer, or both. They are camel thorn acacia trees, and they have been dead for approximately 900 years. The last rain that fell here with enough force to sustain them fell in the 14th century. Since then, the climate shifted, the dunes grew taller, the water table dropped, and the trees died. Asterisk, but they did not fall. They did not rot. They did not decompose. That the air here is very dry. Conditions are very stable. The tannins in the wood of the acacia tree are very resistant. And so for 9 centuries, these dead trees have stood in the white clay, protected by the same desert that killed them. How strange that the very thing that kills you actually keeps you alive. They have remained surrounded by sand dunes that have slowly approached over geological time. Asterisk, they are not ghosts. They are witnesses. Asterisk, there is a name for what Deadvlei makes you feel. And that name is the Portuguese word saudade, a melancholic longing for something beautiful that no longer exists, that you never had, that you can clearly see but cannot touch. So what does this word make you feel? Let's meet in the comments with your thoughts on what you have, what you can see, but cannot touch. 900-year-old trees in a white desert surrounded by red sand dunes. What this place once was, green, water-filled and vibrant. A thriving oasis is written in the geometry of what killed it. To reach Deadvlei, you drive through shifting sand dunes in a 4-wheel drive vehicle. Park at the base of the dune called Big Daddy, and walk. The walk takes you through soft, deep sand for about 1 kilometer. At dawn, the air is still cool. By mid-morning, the temperature approaches 40 degrees Celsius, and you start to feel tired, but it's worth it for the light of the sunrise over the red sand dunes, which is why photographers set their alarms for 3 in the morning. Asterisk, walk slowly when you're there. Not because the sand demands it, though it does, but because every step across that white clay floor is a step across a surface that has been untouched for longer than living memory extends. This is what preservation looks like when it is done by time and climate rather than by institutions. This is what a monument looks like when no one built it. In the Arabian Sea, between Yemen and Somalia, there is an island that evolution forgot to invite to the rest of the planet's meetings. Asterisk, Socotra has been isolated geologically, biologically, and climatically for so long that approximately 37% of its plant species are found nowhere else in the world. It is like a hidden paradise. Nowhere else. These species have evolved in isolation on this particular island, in this particular ocean, separated from the mainland for millions of years. And the result is a landscape that looks nothing like our world. More like the concept art for an alien planet in a movie with a generous special effects budget. Who knows, maybe some movies are even filmed here. Asterisk, the dragon's blood tree is the symbol of Socotra, and you understand why the moment you see it. The trunk rises straight and smooth from the ground, then bursts outward at a certain height, forming a dense, umbrella-shaped canopy so geometrically perfect, it looks as if it were designed. The leaves are hard and pointed. The bark is smooth and pale in color. When the tree is cut, a dark red resin flows out, which the island's inhabitants have used for centuria's medicine, paint, incense, and art. Who knows how valuable it is? Do you think it's expensive? These trees grow on plateaus and cliffs above an interior that is already surreal, limestone mountains, carved by wind and heat into shapes that belong in a fever dream. Rising above plains of white sand dunes that meet the Indian Ocean in beaches of impossible clarity. The water is turquoise so deep, it seems to generate its own light. The sand is white. The trees bleed red. The sky is blue. Asterisk, there are no traffic lights on Socotra. There are very few paved roads. There is virtually no infrastructure in the modern sense. It is actually a modern village style. The local population of approximately 70,000 people living on the island has lived alongside these extraordinary plants and landscapes for thousands of years and has developed a culture and relationship with nature that is unlike anywhere else. Asterisk, you camp here. You sleep under stars that are not filtered through light pollution because there is no light pollution. You bathe in freshwater streams. You eat what is grown locally. And you walk through forests of dragon blood trees on the Dixum Plateau as the sun falls behind the mountains and the shadows stretch long across a landscape that is, without any exaggeration, one of the most original things you will ever see. Asterisk, the lack of luxury is not a bug. It is the feature. Socotra forces you to be present. It removes every buffer between you and the actual world and says, here it is. Pay attention. This is what the planet looks like when it has been allowed to become itself. Asterisk, there's no other place like this. There will never be another place like this. Have you ever been to a place like this? Let's meet in the comments. Some landscapes earned their names through geography, some through history, some through the imagination of whoever was standing there when the decision was made. The chocolate hills of Bahal earned their name twice a year. Every year, when the grasses that cover more than 1,200 near-perfectly conical hills dry out in the heat of the dry season and turn from green to a deep, rich brown that, seen from above on the observation deck built for this specific purpose, looks exactly like 1,200 chocolate kisses arranged on a vast green serving tray. Asterisk, the visual effects are ridiculous. They're deliberately absurd, almost comically so. And this absurdity is what makes it extraordinary. It's precisely these absurd things that make us human. Asterisk, these hills cover an area of roughly 50 square kilometers across the interior of Bohol, one of the Philippine archipelago's central islands. They range in height from 40 to 120 meters. They are composed of marine limestone sitting on top of impermeable clay, and they were formed over millions of years by the erosion of limestone that was once part of an ancient seafloor. The mathematical near perfection of their conical shapes, the consistency of the angles, the regularity of the spacing gives the landscape an artificial quality, as though someone with a very large hand and a very specific aesthetic built them deliberately, following a pattern that was decided in advance. Asterisk, no one did. This is what erosion and geology produce when given enough time and the right materials. Asterisk, during the rainy season, the hills are green. The grass grows thick on the limestone slopes, and the landscape, while still remarkable for its regularity, is lush and alive. But when the dry season comes from roughly January through May, the grass dies and browns, and the hills transform. From the observation deck at the top of the main viewing site, which requires climbing over 200 steep steps in tropical heat, bring water, bring a hat, move slowly. The view extends across a landscape that has no equivalent on Earth. Asterisk, 1,200 hills, brown, conical, perfect. Asterisk, go at dawn. Go before the heat becomes an adversary. Stand at the top of those steps when the light is still golden and the shadows are still long and the air still carries the slight coolness of night. And understand that what you are looking at is not a trick, not a design, not an accident that happened to dance. This landscape has been here, doing this twice every year, for longer than human civilization has existed. Asterisk, it will keep doing it long after we're gone. It looks like snow. From a distance, from a photograph, from a description, it always sounds like someone is lying to you. Snow in Turkey. White terraces cascading down a hillside above the Aegean plain. But you have seen Turkey in the summer, and you know what summer looks like there. And so you assume the photograph was taken in winter, or the lighting was unusual, or there was frost. Asterisk, there was no frost. There is no snow. What you are looking at is calcium carbonate. Asterisk Pamukkale. The name means cotton castle. In Turkish, is a hillside in the Menderes River Valley in southwestern Turkey, where 17 hot springs, each carrying water saturated with dissolved calcium carbonate, have been flowing for thousands of years. As the water reaches the surface and begins to cool, the calcium carbonate precipitates out of solution and deposits onto the surface in a white, semi-crystalline mineral called travertine. Over millennia, these deposits have built up into the terraced pools and cascading white formations that cover the hillside, a geological structure that stretches is roughly 270 meters tall and 600 meters wide. Asterisk. The color is not quite white. It is the white of old teeth, of chalk, of things that have been building up in layers so slowly that the color itself is a record of time. The texture is rough and porous, like compressed foam. The pools that form in the natural travertine terraces hold warm, slightly cloudy water that has been documented as therapeutic since at least the 2nd century BCE, when the ancient city of Hierapolis was built at the top of the hill, specifically to take advantage of the springs. Asterisk, you remove your shoes before entering. This is not a suggestion. This is a rule enforced to protect surfaces that took thousands of years to form. And then you walk on the white rock in bare feet, feeling the slight warmth of the springs that are still flowing, still depositing, still building what already exists. The temperature of the water in the pools varies. Some are merely warm. Some are hot. Some are comfortable for hours. None of them feel like anything you've ever stood in before. Asterisk at the top, the ruins of Hierapolis wait. Ancient colonnades. A necropolis. An amphitheater that still echoes. And Cleopatra's pool, where you can swim in water so mineral-rich it feels thick. Among the scattered Roman columns that fell into it during the earthquakes of the 7th century, Corinthian capitals sit on the bottom beside pieces of carved marble, and you float above them in water that has been flowing since before any of this was ruins. Asterisk, remove your shoes. Walk slowly. Don't miss the sunrise, when the white of the travertine turns gold and the Aegean plain stretches to the horizon below and the air still carries the cool of the night. Asterisk, there are places where beauty and horror exist simultaneously. I can almost hear you asking, what's the connection? Asterisk located in southern Mexico, Xochimilco is famous for its ancient canal system. Colorful traicioneras, flat-bottomed boats decorated with bright flowers and colorful ornaments, mariachi bands, food vendors, and families floating on the network of waterways that date back to the Aztec civilization on weekends. It's a cheerful and festive place. I definitely recommend visiting. It's one of the most characteristic experiences Mexico has to offer. Asterisk, and at the end of one of those canals, past the point where the tourist boats typically turn around, surrounded by trees and mud and silence, there is an island. The island is covered in dolls, not new dolls, not dolls in their packaging, preserved and pristine. Dolls that have been hanging from trees and fences for 50 years. Dolls that the sun has bleached and cracked. Dolls that the rain has swollen and split. Dolls whose eyes have been turned milky by time, whose hair has become matted and tangled, whose plastic limbs have been invaded by mold and insects. Hundreds of them, possibly thousands, hanging in clusters from branches, staring outward, staring inward, staring at each other across the paths between trees. Asterisk, he was found dead in the canal in 2001, in the same spot where he said he had found the girl decades before. Whether the girl was real, whether the story is true, whether there is anything genuinely supernatural about the island, these are questions no one can answer. What is not in question is the atmosphere. Standing on Isla de las Muñecas, you feel the weight of intention. Someone believed this matter enough to spend 50 years of their life doing it. Belief has a texture. Dedication has a presence. And whatever you think of the dolls themselves, off their faces and their decay and their numbers, you cannot stand among them without understanding that you are standing inside someone else's private act-off mourning. 50 years long and still ongoing. Asterisk, walk slowly. Look at the faces. Some of them will look back. The Atacama Desert is one of the driest places on Earth. In some areas, no rain has fallen in recorded history. The landscape is flat, pale, and enormous, a plateau extending across northern Chile at an altitude that makes breathing slightly laborious, under a sky so clear and so dark at night that the world's premier astronomical observatories have been built here, clustered on hills and plateaus, aimed at the stars with the best atmospheric access on the planet. Asterisk, and in the middle of all this emptiness, rising from the desert floor, there is a hand. Asterisk, it is not a natural formation. It is not a formation shaped by millions of years of erosion that resembles something else. So what is it? A hand. More specifically, a right hand made of iron and cement, rising approximately 11 meters above the ground, as tall as a 3-story building, with fingers spread wide and reaching upward, appearing to both reach out, beg, and drown at the same time. What is it trying to say? Asterisk, the sculpture is called Mano del Desierto. It was created in 1992 by Chilean sculptor Mario Irezabal, who has made a career of creating enormous hands emerging from various landscapes. There are others in Uruguay, in Venice, and Madrid. Irezabal has said that his hands are about human vulnerability, about isolation, about the experience of suffering without witness. A hand reaching from a desert that swallows everything. A hand that no one passing would expect to find. Asterisk, the nearest city is Antofagasta, about 72 kilometers to the north. There is a road. The road is flat. But the real experience is the journey itself, the flatness, The pallor, the absence of anything that indicates human presence. And then suddenly the appearance of fingers reaching up into the sky. When you realize it's human, you're surprised. Asterisk, people have been carving their names into the sculpture, painting it, damaging it since it was placed. Every name carved into it is an act of smallness against something that was built as a monument to the largeness of human suffering. The damage is itself a kind of data point. Asterisk go. Look at it from distance first. Let the scale register. Let the isolation register. Let the fact that someone put it here, in this specific empty nowhere, register. And then ask yourself what it is reaching for, and whether anything out there can be reached. Asterisk. If you wanted to design a lake specifically to make people doubt their own eyes, you would make it small enough that they misidentified it, that they mistook it for something else from a distance. You would put it directly adjacent to another body of water, something enormous, something blue, so that the contrast would be maximally confrontational. And then you would make it pink. It is not a pale blushing pink, nor is it the pink of a sunset reflected on still water. It is a deep, confident, opaque pink that does not change when the light changes, does not vary depending on the angle of observation, and does not require special conditions or photographic tricks to be seen. It is simply there, visible every year, consistently, on a clear day, to anyone flying over the southern coast of Western Australia. It is the kind of thing that will astonish a person on that flight. Asterisk Lake Hillier sits on Middle Island, the largest of the islands that make up the Recherche archipelago off the southern coast of Western Australia. It is roughly 600 meters long and 250 meters wide. From the air, it looks like a square of bubble gum that someone left on the green of the island's interior, directly next to the blue of the Southern Ocean. Contrast is so visually extreme. That aerial photographs of Lake Hillier are among the most commonly disputed images on the internet. People assume the color has been adjusted, that it has been filtered, that no body of water looks like this naturally. Asterisk it does. It has. It will continue to. Asterisk the color comes from a combination of microorganisms. The primary suspect is Danakil salina, a halophilic algae that produces high concentrations of beta-carotene, the same compound that makes carrots orange, as a photoprotective mechanism. The pink is biology sunscreen. Salt-tolerant bacteria in the brine also contribute. The result is a lake where the water itself, removed from the lake and placed in a glass, retains its pink color. This is not reflection. This is pigment. Biological, chemical, living pigment, maintained by organisms that have spent their entire evolutionary history becoming adapted to conditions that should make life impossible. Asterisk. Swimming in the lake is safe. The salinity is about 10 times that of the ocean, which means swimming feels more like floating in a thick liquid than swimming. And the microorganisms are harmless, but access is restricted to protect the ecosystem. Most people see Lake Hillier from the air, but there are swimmers, of course. Asterisk, you see the contrast. You see the impossibility, and you realize that the universe has no obligation to limit its color palette to the tones you expect. Just outside the city of Kutna Hora, about an hour east of Prague, there is a small Catholic chapel. It dates back to the 15th century. Gothic arches, a modest exterior, a cemetery surrounding it. Nothing from the outside tells you what is inside. Inside, there are the bones of approximately 70,000 human beings, not stored, not archived, not placed in boxes in a crypt, arranged, decorated, used as raw material for an interior that must be seen to be believed and must be believed to be survived. Chandelier in the center of the nave contains at least one of every bone in the human body. The four corner candelabras are made from stacked skulls and femurs. The coat of arms of the Schwarzenberg family, the aristocratic dynasty that owned the estate, has been reproduced in bone, including a raven made of small bones pecking at a skull. The entrance is flanked by enormous pyramid-shaped formations of skulls and bones that rise almost to the ceiling. The vaulting is decorated with garlands of skulls. The person responsible for this arrangement was a wood carver named František Rint, hired in 1870 to bring order to the bones that had been accumulating in the chapel since the Black Death of the 14th century. The plague killed thousands in the region. Subsequent wars killed thousands more. The cemetery attached to the chapel was considered sacred ground. People requested to be buried there. Their families paid for the privilege, and over centuries the space ran out. Rint arranged the bones, and then he signed his work in bones on the wall near the entrance. His name in human remains. Sedlik Bone Chapel is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It welcomes hundreds of thousands of visitors each year. It is a place of Catholic worship. People still get married here, are baptized here. The bones are not stage props. They are people. What Rint does with physical remains can be interpreted in completely different ways by different people living in different centuries and different cultural contexts. Is it something sacred? Is it disrespectful to the sacred? Is it art? Is it record keeping taken to its logical extreme? What do you think? Let's meet in the comments. In the middle of the night, stand under the chandelier of every bone in the human body and ask yourself if this distinction matters. Or reef the question is more interesting than the answers. Try this when you go, and share your response in the comments when you ask. Mount Fuji has a shadow, not the shadow that falls from it across the surrounding plains when the sun is low. The other shadow, the shadow that exists in the forest that grows at its northwestern base, in the ancient lava fields that erupted and cooled and became the root system for the densest woodland in the Japanese archipelago of Okigahara. The Sea of Trees, 13.5 square miles of forest growing directly from volcanic rock, so dense that at midday in summer, with the sun overhead, the interior is dark. So dense that in heavy rain, the canopy intercepts almost all the water before it reaches the ground. So dense that the lava beneath the soil absorbs magnetic fields, making compasses unreliable, making GPS navigation patchy and uncertain, making the forest, for anyone who leaves the established paths, genuinely easy to get lost in. Okigahara is known for its beauty. The ancient forest, the twisted forms of trees shaped by the lava rock they grow from, the specific quality of the light that filters through layers of dense canopy onto a floor covered in ferns and moss. These are real and remarkable. The forest has been celebrated in Japanese culture for centuries, associated with the spiritual and the mysterious in ways that reflect Japan's particular relationship with nature as something alive and present and demanding of attention. Okigahara is also the second most common place in the world for suicides. Please share in the comments if you know the first place. These two facts about the same place exist simultaneously and cannot be separated from each other. The forest that is beautiful is the same forest where people go to die. The piece that draws visitors from around the world is the same piece that people choose as their final experience. The density that creates the unique visual character of the place is the same density that provides privacy. Signs at the trail entrances urge visitors experiencing distress to reconsider, to call a crisis line, to speak with someone. Volunteers patrol sections of the forest. The Japanese government no longer publishes annual statistics about deaths here. To avoid amplifying the association, walk through Okigahara on the established trails, and you will experience a forest unlike any other on the planet. The volcanic rock creates forms and textures that no other woodland produces. The silence is extraordinary, a living silence. Not the absence of sound, but the presence of a specific sound that is almost inaudible. The sound of a very large living thing breathing slowly in the dark. Carry a compass even though it won't work perfectly. Stay on the path and give the forest the respect that it demands in both of its natures simultaneously. In the 19th century, the first settlers who came to the shores of Mono Lake thought they saw the remains of a city submerged underwater. But what do you think they actually saw? Share your guesses in the comments before continuing. The towers rising from the water's surface, some reaching 10 meters, some 15, have the proportions and the clustering of architecture. They rise from the water in groups. Irregular in height, irregular in spacing. Their surfaces roughened and crusted, their forms tapering slightly toward the top, and in the early morning light, with the steam rising from the alkaline surface and the Sierra Nevada visible in the background. They look like the remnants of something that used to be inhabited. They are tufa towers. They form entirely underwater, at points where freshwater springs push up through the floor of the lake and meet the carbonate-rich alkaline water above, where calcium in the freshwater meets carbonate in the lake water. Calcium carbonate precipitates, the mineral that forms Pamukkale's white terraces, and over decades and centuries, layer by layer, it builds vertical formations that keep growing upward until the spring is buried under its own construction, or until the water level drops and exposes the tower to the air. Mono Lake is 3 times as salty as the ocean and highly alkaline. Almost nothing lives in it, almost. Billions of brine shrimp survive in the hostile water, adapted to conditions that no vertebrate can tolerate. Trillions of alkali flies hatch from the lake shores in summer. And the tufa towers, exposed to the air by a drop in the lake's level, caused in the mid-20th century by the diversion of the freshwater streams that feed it to supply Los Angeles, now stand fully visible above the surface, their forms reflecting in the flat, mirror still water on still mornings. The silence here is not the silence of absence. It is the silence of concentration, of attention directed inward. The eastern Sierra is visible. The sky is large. The lake's surface, when still, reflects the towers so precisely that the reflection reads as continuation rather than mirror image. As Thoth towers extend downward, as far as they extend upward, anchored in sky and water simultaneously, the towers are fragile. Footprints break them. Designated trails have been specially constructed to protect formations that took centuries to form. Walk on the marked trail. Use your camera's zoom feature. This is one of those places where the desire to get closer will cost you more than the photo is worth. What do we mean by a place where the desire to get closer will cost you more than the photo is worth? We're waiting for your comments to find out what those who have been there think. Most of the hardest things to reach in the world are hard because of geography. High altitude, remote location, technical terrain. The physical difficulty is proportional to the physical distance. Reaching the wave is difficult for a completely different reason. So do you have any guesses? It is located in the Coyote Buttes area of Vermilion Cliffs National Monument, just above the Arizona border in Utah. While the terrain is challenging, it is not technically dangerous. The elevation is manageable. From the start of the trail, you must walk approximately 10 kilometers through open desert in either direction. Anyone in reasonable physical condition equipped with proper footwear and sufficient water, can physically make this journey. The difficulty is a lottery. The United States Bureau of Land Management issues 10 permits per day for the area in which the wave is located. 10 for the entire site, every day of the year. Of those 10, 5 are available through advance online lottery months in advance, and 5 are distributed through an in-person lottery at the Grand Staircase Escalante Visitor Center. The odds of obtaining a permit through the advance lottery are typically less than 1%. Most people who apply never go. Many apply for years before receiving a permit. If you hold a permit for the wave, it feels like holding a key to a room that most people never enter. What the room contains is impossible to adequately prepare yourself for. The Navajo sandstone that forms. The wave has been deposited in layers over 200 million years. The wind-blown sediment of ancient deserts that buried themselves over time and solidified under pressure into rock. Those layers, sometimes thin as a finger, sometimes as thick as your hand, are not horizontal. They curve. They undulate. They fold back on themselves in long, smooth sweeps that run like ribbons through the stone. And because the different layers contain different mineral concentrations, different iron contents, different trace elements, those layers are different colors: pink, cream, red, ochre, gold. The wave is the place where those layers have been exposed and eroded by millennia of wind and rain into curved, hollow formations that you can walk through, where the layers wrap around you in every direction, where the geometry is simultaneously natural and impossible, where the rock around you looks less like stone and more like fabric frozen mid-motion. There are no marked trails inside. Navigation is by GPS coordinates and pictorial maps issued with the permit. This is not a liability disclaimer. It is a genuine warning. People have been genuinely lost here, in heat that can reach 50 degrees Celsius in summer, with limited water and no shade. Leave early. Bring much more water than you think you'll need. And when you find the formation and step inside, look around and see the layers curving in every direction. Realize that it has been here for 200 million years and that it expects exactly 10 people to see it each day. The luck that brought you here will feel like the best luck you've ever had. So are you that lucky? Is anyone going there? Let's meet in the comments. The Andes are old. Not in the way that most mountains are old, not in the comfortable geological age of familiar landscapes, but old in the sense of deeply, radically, incomprehensibly ancient, raised from the collision of tectonic plates over millions of years, shaped by forces that operated on timescales that make human history look like an afternoon rainbow. Mountain is located in the Andes Mountains. This mountain, which is approximately 5,030 meters above sea level, is so high that the air contains only 60% of the oxygen found at sea level. Most visitors feel the altitude before they even see the mountain, and the cold air and thin air become a sort of entrance fee. There's absolutely no VIP entrance, not painted, not marked, not the result of any human intervention. The colors of Vinnakunka's slopes, the deep red, the violet pink, the turquoise green, the pale yellow, the cream, the rust, are the product of different mineral compositions in different layers of sedimentary rock, exposed by the erosion of the glaciers that until recently covered the mountain completely. The red comes from iron-rich clay. The green from chlorite, the yellow from sulfurous materials and iron sulfide, the white from calcium carbonate, the purple from manganese. Each layer represents a different period of geological deposition, a different climate, a different chemical environment, laid down one atop the other and then tilted by the forces that built the Andes. None of this was visible until 2013. The mountain was covered in permanent glaciers and snow. Climate change melted the snow and glaciers, revealing what lay beneath. A mountain that had been gathering its colors in the dark for millions of years, waiting. It was beyond imagination, as if drawn with a pencil. The hike to see it takes 3 to 4 hours. From the nearest road access point. The altitude makes those 3 to 4 hours significantly harder than they would be at sea level. Horses are available for those who need them. Guides are recommended. TheTrail at certain points offers views of the surrounding Andes that are their own reward. The scale of the landscape at 5,000 meters. The silence. The altitude light that makes everything simultaneously sharper and more fragile dot at the summit. The colors are real. They are not a photograph. They are in front of you, on a mountain, in the Andes, earned by the elevation and the effort. Something enormous has been hiding under the ice for a very long time. Now you can see it. The name is not metaphorical. Death Valley holds the record for the highest reliably recorded air temperature on Earth, 56.7 degrees Celsius, 134 degrees Fahrenheit, measured on July 10, 1913, at a weather station in the Northern Valley. The temperature, at ground level, on the surface of the dark alluvial face, kilometers. The surface is cracked into hexagonal patterns, and the salt pans regularly exceeds the air temperature by 30 degrees or more. The ground itself is hot enough to cause severe burns through the soles of shoes. The humidity is so low that perspiration evaporates before you can feel it, removing your primary warning system that your body is losing water at a dangerous rate. The National Park Service provides clear and straightforward guidance. If the air temperature exceeds 38 degrees, do not hike, do not attempt to walk long distances. Stay in your vehicle with the air conditioning running. Carry 1 gallon of water per person per hour. Learn the location of the nearest forest ranger station. Know that station to survive. Otherwise, it will be the end of you. Nevertheless, an extraordinary number of people come from every country in the world, because Death Valley is also end. This is something that surprises everyone who hasn't been there. Showcased and extraordinarily, the Badwater Basin, at 86 meters below sea level, the lowest point in North America, is a salt flat covering roughly 280 square by the repeated expansion and contraction of salt crystals, white against the mountains that ring the valley. The valley walls rising over 3,000 meters from where you're standing. The contrast. between the white off the salt and the dark volcanic rock of the surrounding ranges is extraordinary. The mesquite flat sand dunes are different. Here, in an area of the valley where sand has accumulated into dunes reaching 30 meters, the landscape is intimate and curved and quiet. Stand still among the dunes before sunrise and the silence is complete. There are no birds, there is no wind. There is no sound of water or traffic or any living thing. What you hear, if you are still enough, is your own heartbeat. The painted desert within the park offers a different color palette. The artist's palette drive takes you through badlands where volcanic minerals have oxidized into pastels across a spectrum: pink, green, yellow, purple, cream. The colors are subtle and widespread, applied across entire hillsides without the drama of individual formations. Deadvlei requires respect. Not reverence, it doesn't care whether you respect it or not, but practical, physical, life-preserving respect. It is not a backdrop, it is not a setting. It is a real environment that operates under rules that were not designed around human survival. Come in winter, come at dawn, come prepared. And understand that beauty and danger are not separate qualities. They are the same quality, experienced from slightly different angles. Is there anyone among us who has experienced this? Let's meet in the comments. This is the planet you live on. It's not the planet of your routine life. It's not the planet that appears on your screen, in your daily field of vision, as you commute to and from work. It's the planet that builds things, burns things, paints things pink, carves things, grows bones in churches, hides colors under glaciers, creates flames behind waterfalls, and makes mistakes that turn into ecosystems. This is your world. Realize it. He has done all this without drawing your attention. He will continue to do so without you noticing, but now you're paying attention. You're becoming aware. The world doesn't need to be like a science fiction movie to be extraordinary. It already is. All you need to do is be willing to look at the parts that don't fit the version you always assumed was complete. Go and look. And if you've seen a place that seems unbelievable, a place you think isn't from this world, share it with us. Everything is beautiful when shared. Dear friends, but never forget that this planet is where we live, breathe, cry, and laugh. Always be happy on this planet. Explore these incredible places. If you don't have the time or money to travel, don't forget to follow us and like our posts, friends, because we are discovering incredible and unbelievable places for you. Don't forget to turn on notifications. Take care.